Good morning and welcome. My name is Jonathan Lister. I'm the Managing Director for Google in Canada. What an exciting time. This is incredible. The energy, I got in yesterday and the energy, even on my plane, was amazing, but the energy in the airport was incredible, and all the way into Vancouver, it's been a really kind of palpable feel. So I think this is going to be an incredible few weeks. So very exciting. So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to the Google press conference. And thanks to our speakers. Thanks to Premier Gordon Campbell. Thanks to Mayor Ken Melamed for joining us and helping us announce some really exciting new ways of organizing information about the events, about Vancouver, about Whistler, and making them universally acceptable, or universally accessible and useful. As Managing Director and Head of Google Canada, I am responsible for growing Google in Canada, but I'm also responsible for growing Canada online. So it's thrilling to be here in Vancouver at this historic and much anticipated time, both in the city and in the country's history. In the coming weeks, the world will see what you already know, and that is that this is a stunning region, full of opportunity and energy with a love of technology. The city has made its public data open, which has, under Mayor Gregor Robertson, which has made possible such tools as the transit feature in Google Maps, which you'll hear about in a moment. And as sports fans around the world turn their attention to British Columbia, they're also going to turn their attention to Google to look for information about the events. In anticipation of that, people at Google have been working very hard over the last few months, creating new ways to make the games and the events more exciting and allow users to see and use the games in new ways, see the games in new ways. So with that, I'd like to introduce Stephen Chow. And Stephen Chow is product manager on the very popular Street View in Google Maps. And Stephen's going to come up and talk about some additions and updates in Google Maps and Google Earth that will allow people to better navigate the events and to see Canada in a whole new way. So Stephen, welcome.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks again to everyone for making it to our event. Today we have some very exciting updates to announce for Google Earth and Google Maps, including one of our coolest launches to date, quite literally. As fans start to arrive in Vancouver this week, they'll be looking for everything from their hotels to the competition venues to simple things, like where to have a good cup of coffee. Meanwhile, fans located abroad will turn to their computers to learn more about the exciting things happening here. Through our geo products, we hope to make it easier for users to not only follow the events, but also to better explore British Columbia. Using Google Maps, visitors arriving for games will not only be able to find where to go and how to get there, but also what the locals think by reading reviews directly on the map. Leading up to the games, to help our users better discover the best of Vancouver, we reached out to local experts like Premier Campbell and Ross Ribliotti to tell us about their favorite places in the city. Users can learn more about these top picks by going to google.com/games10. In fact, I had a great lunch at Earl's Restaurant yesterday, thanks to a recommendation from Premier Campbell. When I travel, one of the first things I like to do is learn how to use public transportation. So because of that, I know that I can take the Canada line to get from my hotel to airport in about 30 minutes tomorrow. Well, as visitors start to flood BC over the next couple weeks, they're learning how to use public transportation will be top of mind for many people. Because of that, we've done a lot of work with our valued transit partners, including TransLink and BC Transit. And I'm happy to announce that transit information on Google Maps will reflect a particular event times, schedules, and routes, including the buses going between Vancouver and Whistler. In addition, we'll be launching transit for Whistler for the very first time, and that'll be made available on Google Maps later this week. At Google, when we think about the GeoWeb, it's not only about helping our users navigate better locally, it's also about helping them take virtual adventures to places all over the world. For Google Earth, our 3D modeling team has created a complete virtual representation of the competition venues and also most of downtown Vancouver. These are the 3D models that are being played on the video when you arrive here today. Some of my favorites include being able to see what it looks like from the top of the ski jump and being able to virtually navigate the bobsled run. And so whether you're a fan in Ghana cheering for the snow leopard or a fan in Russia watching in anticipation of 2014, we hope that many users will be able to feel like they're right here in Vancouver using tools like Google Earth. Finally, when we first launched Street View in Canada back in October, users from countries all over the world explored imagery, resulting in some of the highest product usage that we've ever seen. So I'm very excited to announce today that we're significantly expanding our Street View coverage in Canada to over 130 new cities and towns. But can you really capture the essence of Canada without showing the snow? And can you really capture the essence of the games by letting people see what's on the streets? You know, when we think about expanding Street View, we think a lot about where our users want to go and what they want to see. And in this case, it meant taking Street View to the next level. So on the eve of a historic event for the city of Vancouver, I'm happy to announce a historic event for the Street View team. The very first Street View on the snow, captured with our experimental Street View Snowmobile. I'd like to thank Whistler Blackcomb, our partner and guinea pig, for embarking on this big experiment with us. The views from the slope, as you can see from the pictures behind me, are just truly amazing. So I'd like to invite Dan Ratner, our senior mechanical engineer and the mastermind behind both the Google Trike, which is our bicycle platform, and this new snowmobile, to tell you more about the behind the scenes of building this incredible machine.
Thanks, Stephen, and thanks, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to show you the new Street View Snowmobile. You know, it was our goal to make Street View available along the roads in Vancouver and the surrounding areas, inside Whistler Village, along the pedestrian-only pathways, and finally, up and down Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain along the slopes. Now, to do Street View on the roads, we drive our Google Street View cars. And inside Whistler Village to do Street View, we drive something called the Google Trike. That's a pedaled three-wheel tricycle with our camera and gear on it. Some of the pathways we rode along are so narrow cars can't even fit. And finally, of course, to do Street View from the slopes, we use this actual snowmobile right here. Now let's take a closer look at it. There's two things that I'd like to point out. First, the camera. What I want you to notice is the camera that's on the snowmobile here is the same camera that you'll find on the Google Trike and on the Google cars. And what this really means for all of you is that when you go inside a Street View and look at all the pictures in there, whether it's from the roads or from the pedestrian pathways or from the slopes, it's going to be the same high-quality imagery that you'll find in each of those Street View pictures. Second point, it's a prototype. We started this very, very recently. We worked tirelessly over the last few months on it. We literally finished doing this on a Sunday, packed it up, and drove it up here on a Monday. So I would like to make a special thanks, of course, to our partners at Whistler and Blackcomb, and especially to the patrollers who helped us really get this thing going. And we'd like to leave you with a short video clip here from some of the behind-the-scenes footage. The motivation to really get this project going was that we have the upcoming 2010 Olympics here, and we wanted to do our best to try and capture some beautiful imagery and have it available to everyone around the world to see so they can really experience what it's like to be up there on the slopes ahead of time.
And what we're doing here today is we're taking Street View to the next level. We're just trying to think of where people want to see, where they want to go, and we're trying to give you the immersive experience all over the world, from the street to the mountain.
right, thanks, Stephen and Dan. Those are some incredible images and some incredible photography. So now I'd like to introduce Dylan Casey. Dylan Casey is a product manager with Google Search, but Dylan's also an Olympian. Dylan rode with the U.S. cycling team in Sydney, and he brings a unique perspective. He's a Pan Am gold medalist, a multinational champion who rode with Lance Armstrong on the United States Postal Service team. So he retired from professional riding in 2003 and worked for Google, but has come here kind of full circle, and he's here today to talk about our new website, gadget, and search tools that will allow people to better navigate these events. Dylan?
Thank you, Jonathan. As Jonathan mentioned, I'm an Olympian from the 2000 Games, and it's a real honor for me to be here because not only do I share a lot of the excitement and emotion that you do as a fan, but I share it as an athlete too, and now I'm a fan. And it's great. Some of the technology that we're presenting to you today and some of the things that I'm going to talk about are really innovative in the sense that it changes the experience that people have. And it's not just the athletes, it's not just the fans, the families. It's hard for me to put into words, but when you see the event, when you see the athlete get into the starting gate, there's just so much more that you don't see that leads up to that specific moment that's just amazing. And it's funny, my own anecdotes from being in Sydney and trying to help my mom find the specific gate at the Olympic Village so that she could meet me, or trying to get my grandmother to figure out where she could go to get something downtown. And these are the things that make the games so amazing, yet at the same time so challenging. So for me to be able to come full circle and be a part of a project that really changes the way that not just the athletes but everybody experiences the game is a real honor for me. And I'm really proud to be here and be a part of this team. I'm wearing the tie that was the official tie for the opening ceremonies in Sydney, and it's fun to be able to put it on again and kind of relive some of those memories. So what's amazing about the ability for people to be able to see the venue, to actually put themselves where the events are happening, to try to put themselves in the shoes of the athletes, to feel those emotions, is really what we endeavored to do with these projects. And I could imagine if my friends and family that weren't able to come to the games were able to see the view of the track when I was racing from the Google Street Trike, would have been pretty amazing. And I'm sure for the grandmother in Italy whose son is competing in the downhill ski competition, for her to be able to log in to Google and see on Street View his perspective as he's looking down the gates is going to change the experience of being a fan. And that's something that's really exciting. So let's get to the demo so that I can kind of talk about some of the things that we're going to show you. The first thing is when you do a search on Google Search, one of the things that we try to do is make it really easy to find information. And you'll see here Laura has done a search for men's hockey, and the first result is a special search result that we've done just for these games. And here you're seeing the men's preliminary round, and it's the United States versus Switzerland on February 16th at 3 p.m. So you know exactly what time the event, who's playing, and if you click on the actual link, it'll take you to the official VANOC website where you can get more information about that. The other thing that we've done is we've taken a lot of this information that we find on the web, and we've built an iGoogle gadget. And here you see that it's been added to an iGoogle page, and if Laura clicks on the first link, it'll take us to the individual trial qualification. It's that downhill ski event. And it actually takes you on the map to where that event is happening. And you can zoom out, and if you need to find directions there or you want to see where it is relative to something else, we'll make that available too. And with Street View, you can actually see the ski jump. So that's pretty amazing. It changes that experience. It really helps people connect to the event. The other thing that we've done is we've taken all the information here, and it's not just available in Google Search. It's not just available as a gadget, but we've put it into a special landing page. And you can find that at google.com/games10. And here Laura shows you that we have a tab for different events, medals, venues. We've also created some short links to some of the stuff in Street View. You can access some of the other products, some of the up-to-date news. And again, of course, we've built in a Picasa web album into the page to just showcase all of the user photos from around Vancouver. And so images are a powerful medium for capturing and sharing the exciting moments of the game and really getting the spirit of competition. And so we've basically built that gallery in here and made it easy for people to find all of that. So for those of you that are here, you're the lucky ones. So please take photos, upload them to Picasa, share them with your friends and family, share them with the world, and make it possible for everybody to share the same experiences that you are. Finally, as the anticipation to the games builds, especially to the opening ceremonies, you might want to know what's going on with the torch. Where is it? What are people saying? So with Google's real-time search, if you type in a query like torch relay, you can actually see what people are saying right this moment about the torch relay. You can see somebody who watches it go by, and maybe they have something interesting to say, or maybe something happened in that specific place when it went by, and they tweeted about it or posted an update on Facebook. And we're actually getting that content in real time in Google search results. And it's hopefully something that will be valuable to everybody at the games throughout the entire event to actually see what people are saying in real time. So to recap, our goal is really to help people connect, to bring the games and the excitement, the emotion, everything for the people that are here and the people that aren't here, so that we can all come together as a world and really experience what no other event in the entire world can bring together. Finally, all of this is available on your mobile phone. If you go to m.google.com/games10, you'll be able to access all of this information, especially the real-time information. And finally, be sure to check back every day. As in true Google fashion, we'll have a commemorative Google Doodle throughout the games from the opening to the end. So thank you.
Thanks, Dylan. Again, great stuff. So now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Premier Gordon Campbell, who's worked for 9 years to promote British Columbia as Canada's Pacific Gateway and to build the reputation and visibility of BC and Vancouver around the world. He's made it a priority to take advantage of the opportunity of these events to promote the province and communities, to create jobs, support local businesses, and grow the economy. But he's also been a partner of Google. He has contributed to our favorite places, Maps of Vancouver, the feature you saw in Stephen's presentation. And he's here to come talk about these tools and how they impact British Columbians both over the next few weeks and beyond. So, come here.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. I should start by telling you all that we're in the traditional territories of the Coast Salish First Nation. This is an Olympics where we have 4 host First Nations which are welcoming the world, as well as Canada and British Columbia, Vancouver, and Whistler. I want to say, though, how pleased I am, Jonathan and Dylan and Steve and Dan, of what you're doing and the launch that you're launching here today. It's hard to believe that 10 years ago, Google was just a little word, and now it's actually moved from a noun to a verb. And it shows you how much the world can change in just 10 years. In the next 10 years, we're going to see those changes take place just as rapidly and probably even faster than they did over the last 10 years. And this is an example of how Google keeps moving us to new heights, if you want, new ways that we can look at our world, new ways that we can experience our world. I'm so pleased to be here with Ken Melamud, the mayor of Whistler, because as I looked at those images on the screen, I thought of the times that I have skied at Whistler, and you're sitting on the chairlift, or you're at the top of the run, and you look down and you think, wow, this is incredible. And one of the things that this technology can do, that Google is bringing to us today, is it can show us how incredible that is. It can show us those runs. It can give us the experience of the village, the experience of the place, which is so important in all of our lives, the experiences of the places we live and how we actually are shaped by the places that we live in. Google is going to be an incredible partner as we go through this. I know that people are going to, as we launch this technology, as it's brought to the world, they're going to see our sites. They're going to see the places. They're going to see them the way the athletes see them. We've seen new technology here. I was saying how much this really actually brings the mountain to it's pretty easy, pretty tough. We used to say you couldn't bring the mountain to the people. You're bringing the mountain to the people. That's an exceptional gift that you're giving us all. And we're really pleased that you're doing it in British Columbia, because we want to show the world the place that we live. We've started with Whistler. This has expanded. The Google Maps has expanded, and Google Streets have expanded across the province. A number of our major communities are included in that. We want to take full advantage of that. When you think of the transit opportunities, when you think of how people can use this to make their Olympic experience even better, it's exactly the kind of improvements that we're looking for in our life and the quality of the experience that we have, and Google has brought that to us. Vancouver and British Columbia are Canada's Pacific Gateway. And we often say to the world, this is our chance to introduce ourselves to the world, and Google has expanded that many-fold just by introducing this kind of this technology to people. As a hub for technology, as a place that takes great pride in the quality of our life, the quality of our environment, as a place that's trying to move to improve the quality of the environment for all the people that live here. This helps us, I think, establish British Columbia and Canada as a hub for not just for tourism, but for technology, not just for trade, but for assuring that we actually connect with one another. This is a way that people can experience what we've experienced, and hopefully they will feel the same sense of wonder that we often do, whether it's standing on the slopes in British Columbia or standing in our communities across the province. On behalf of everyone in British Columbia, I want to say thank you to Google. I want to congratulate the team. I can't imagine the work and the imagination that goes into bringing this to all of us. This is a great launch. It's great to have you do it here in British Columbia. It's great to have you do it prior to the Olympics. We think the Olympics is going to drive all kinds of additional eyes to our part of the world, to our country, to our province, to Whistler and to Vancouver. And we hope we'll be able to expand this to other resorts across the province, as you will, I'm sure, expand it to other resorts around the world. We're glad to be in competition in the world. We think with these Olympics, we're going to show that we're right up at the top with everybody else. Thank you all, and thank you, Google, very much for what you've done for us.
Okay, thanks again, Premier Campbell. And I was just informed that Premier Campbell may have to duck out a little bit early. I believe he's heading to a throne speech, so if he doesn't stick around till the end, that's why. So now I'm grateful that Whistler Mayor Ken Melamed could join us as well, and he's here to discuss what all of this means for Whistler Mountain and for the municipality. Mayor Melamed.
Have a good day, Mr. Premier. See you later tonight. It is a great pleasure to have been invited down here. My name is Ken Melamed. I'm the mayor of the Resort Municipality of Whistler and the co-hosts of the 2010 Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games. It is, as the Premier said, very exciting, and we're very privileged, I think, that Google has chosen Whistler to be a place to pioneer this technology. It's fantastic. So on behalf of the Resort Municipality and Whistler Blackcomb, on whose mountains these, we're going to have to adapt that name because it's not quite Street View, is it? It's Ski Run View or Snowmobile View. Yes, and so we're thrilled to be here, and the timing is so perfect as we get set to welcome the world for the Games. The Street View on Google Maps already is helping visitors to Whistler and anyone who's had the experience of coming to the resort, especially the bicycle-oriented one to get on the pedestrian stroll. You know, Street View is very auto-focused. In Whistler, we're less auto-focused. We're a little bit more on the alternative transportation side. And so the pedestrian village is very friendly for people who are walking around, and this would be a great asset to them. They'll be able to see the peak-to-peak gondola and see the Dave Murray downhill from a perspective that they've never seen. Whistler Blackcomb is the largest, two largest ski areas in North America. We're the largest resort. We've been rated #1 for the last 15 years. So as has been said before, this is providing people who've never been here an exceptional chance to get a sense of the feel, the size and the scale that these two mountains have to offer. Again, the digital age, this multimedia product is so innovative. It's fantastic, the access that people have to see. And now, I was wondering if you can paint a little bit more snow on there to reflect the fact that we've had one of the best snowfall winters on record. It's a little bit hard, and we're going to need to adapt that to the seasons because, of course, we're a year-round resort, and those ski runs that you're snowmobiling down are mountain bike trails in the summertime. We are expecting about 3 billion viewers to watch the Olympics. So the timing of this is absolutely essential to help those viewers who can't make it here, and I would encourage them, there's still room at the end, so if the last minute they want to come and check the games out, it's going to be a fantastic time. But for those who can't make it, this is an incredible opportunity for them. We are, as the Premier said, interested in showcasing what we have to the world. This is our time to shine, it's been said. As many people know about British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver, Whistler, there are many more people who will benefit from getting to know us better. And this is a fantastic introduction. The connection to transit is one that's particularly close to my heart. I'm a transit user. Transit can be complicated for newcomers to Whistler, those of us who ride all the time. You get to know your bus and like that. But particularly during games time, I think that was really thoughtful of you to include that, and the level of detail that you've gone, I think is going to be really appreciated. So thank you very much for thinking about all that. On behalf, again, of the community of Whistler Blackcomb, we're very honored to be the recipients of this pioneering technology, first in the world, to have this view on the slopes and of the pedestrian stroll of Whistler. Thanks again. It's a pleasure to be here. Everybody enjoy the games. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to Mayor Melamed, thanks to Premier Campbell, and thanks to our Google speakers for bringing these offerings to life. And our sincere hope is that people from around the world use these offerings and tools to see Vancouver and Whistler in entirely new ways, and they use all the information that we're making accessible and useful. I have one more announcement to make. I'm thrilled to add how pleased we are to be offering official event content on YouTube through a partnership with CTV. So for the next few weeks, Canadians can go to YouTube or ctvolympics.ca, and they'll see event coverage, they'll see athlete profiles, and other timely content. So I think that's a great announcement for us and a great first for Canada. So finally, this announcement, these images, the video, all of this is available on our press site, sites.press@google.com/games. And we've got some demo stations set up where you can view all the offerings that we have presented here today. And I will just close by saying, here's to gold on Canadian soil. Thank you very much. I think we'll now take maybe 10 minutes of questions. So if I can ask Dylan, Dan, Stephen, Ken, whoever wants to come on up here, we'll answer questions.
Okay, fire away. Anybody?
Sorry, to clarify, does Whistler have the transit view yet, or is it implemented next week or later this week for Whistler's?
Right, so Whistler is being added for the first time for transit on Google Maps, and that'll be made live later this week.
Well, first, as I said in the speech, it's the same one that we use on our platforms, the car, the Trike, and of course now on this. That's the first thing worth mentioning again. The second thing is that we built it ourselves, and it's been specifically designed for getting the most out of Street View, trying to get the maximum experience, the best kind of quality you can from the pictures for it. So that's probably the second thing worth noting, is that we've specifically designed it for getting the most out of Street View.
Can you tell me if you sent the camera down with any athletes, any participants, so you can get a view, excuse me, a participant's, competitor's view of what it's like to go down these roads?
Unfortunately, we didn't work directly with any of the actual athletes, well, except for this former athlete.
Wrong season.
Really? I thought you did both. No.
Historical record for hits during Olympics?
Well, sport or queries related to sport in general are really, really high volume on Google all the time. A great tool called Google Trends will actually show you the search volume relative to other years across our entire network. Of course, during the Winter Games and the Summer Games, that volume actually will go up for sport-related queries. So the short answer, or well, I gave you a good place to find the answer to your question, but in general, it's a very, very popular query for us and something that we put a lot of resources behind.
Street addresses on the mountain, so what's the reference point that people are searching?
Sure. So what you can do is do a search for the resort, for example, or any area nearby. And then when you're in Google Maps, what you'll see is that there's a zoom bar on the top left, and there's also a yellow, what we call the pegman, located on the user interface as well. And so what you can simply do is just click on that pegman and drag him, and then you'll see all the areas that we have Street View available highlighted in blue. And you can simply drop them into any of those areas, and you'll be in the product, and you can see all the Street View imagery. And we have the demo stations as well, so I'm happy to show you later in person if that wasn't clear.
All right.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much.